Welcome back, Wealth Builders. Michael Rosmer here with Richucation. We're going over different asset classes, and as I mentioned, this is not a course on investing, so we're not going into the full details of how to drive into that. We'll create a course for that at some other point in time for anyone who wants to really go into it. We're giving you the high level of understanding the asset classes and where they fit into what it is you're doing. Okay, and so today we're going to talk about the subject of commodities. All right. Commodities. So the first thing to note about them is they are not really an asset. Okay? Not really an asset by our definition. Okay? They're definitely not, well, we'll talk about this in just a minute. So, do they have growth? No, there's no growth. Okay? And no, not productive. Okay? So this is a very important point. I'm going to tell you how come Warren Buffett does not buy gold, or does not believe in gold. Now, gold is useful as a cash alternative to hedge against inflation. Ooh, sorry about that. So, as an example, if you're holding a lot of cash, cash is going to depreciate with time due to inflation. So, cash is a great hedge against inflation, right? Ray Dalio, as an example, suggests about 7.5% of a portfolio be gold. You can play with that however you like, but that's a number, right? Okay, so here's the Warren Buffett story that hopefully will clarify for you how come gold is a shitty investment. It's not really an investment at all, actually. It's just a cash alternative. And how come you shouldn't expect to, you generally just don't want to own it. Let's say you have two things. One, you've got $1 million of farmland, the other, you've got $1 million of gold. Okay? So you take that $1 million of gold, you bury it in the ground, you go away for 100 years, and you come back 100 years later. What have you got? You have, let's say that you bought, I don't know, let's say you could buy 100 pounds of gold. How much have you got? You've still got the same amount of gold. Okay? Yeah, it's gone with inflation, so it hasn't decreased in value. Right? But it's also not grown, like there's nothing else there. By contrast, you have that piece of farmland. So you buy $1 million of farmland, you go away for 100 years, you come back 100 years later. What have you got? Well, that piece of farmland, you still have it, right? It's also gone up with inflation. The difference is it's also produced a crop or paid you some sort of like a yield every year for the last 100 years. Which of those two is better? Farmland, of course, naturally, right? So, the disadvantage, of course, of the farmland is, well, you have to, if it's mortgaged and you have a deflationary period, then that could work against you, right? Although, honestly, if you have inflationary, it would work better for you because the mortgage is going to stay the same while the property value goes up, right? So, generally speaking, commodities, not good, okay? So commodities, we've got gold, we've got silver, we've got oil, we've got, all these different things. All right. So that hopefully helps you to understand how come you generally don't want to be getting into commodities. You generally want productive assets, okay? That being said, we're going to cover this guy quickly, and we're going to mention that, all right, so this one, prices with inflation. Prices, inflation, and deflation. Okay? Does that mean that it's going to remain the same based on inflation and deflation? No, it does not. But it means that over time it will account for inflation and deflation. The value, the good news about it is there's no operations, right? So no operations makes it very easy. No worries about that messing up. It's going to sit there and do whatever it's going to do. Its value is mostly based on utility value. Okay? Utility value. Now, if I ask something about, what's the utility value of gold? Because the majority of gold is not consumed for jewelry. Sometimes it's used for electronics, but the majority of the gold is not used for either of those things. What is it? Well, it's used for a cash alternative, right? And so depending on the demand for currency alternatives tends to push up the price of gold. Okay, that's loosely speaking what you're talking about. Okay, so when people lose confidence in the currency, they tend to go to gold. Whether that will be true forever, we'll see. Right? Or we might not see, because forever is a very long time. Anyway, not a lot to say about commodities. Let's see here. Anything else? So that's demand. So demand is based on utility value. Demand. Let's see here. Yeah, that's all I've got for notes, because there's really not that much to say. Generally, you don't want to hold this, like a Ray Dalio type portfolio. He does 7.5% gold, 7.5%, or he suggests 7.5% gold, 7.5% other commodities, which is an asset allocation mix that's going to help you, with being able to say, okay, you're going to pretty much stabilize. You're going to normalize what's going on. Okay, so that's commodities. Nothing more really to say there. Mostly, if you can, buy productive assets. This isn't a productive asset. Stay away from it. Use it only as a cash alternative. Okay. Hope that helps. If you want some support on this, if you want to go through investments, if you want to look at your business, etc., reach out to us. It's so much fun for us. Join the action classes. I'll see you guys on the next video.